John Gotti.
John Gotti.
John Gotti.
That's my name. I'm not ashamed of it, you know. I'm proud of my name, you know, and I'll do the best I can to represent my name. So my sons and my grandsons could walk proudly and whatnot. I'll walk through fire with my name, you know. I'll raise the black flag always, and I'll go to war, you know, for my name.
My father would tell me, and he did say this in that last conversation between he and I, you know, I had said to my father, I said, look, that, you know, he's explaining his beliefs and what he believes. You know, he says his liberty and his freedom, okay, take a back seat to his honor and his dignity. And he's saying, I know you feel like that too, okay? He's saying, I know you feel like that too. And he's telling me basically that I look at him and I say, but Dad, you know, you're twice the man I am. And he puts his head down, and you see him on the tape put his head down, and he shakes his head from side to side, and he says, John, in other ways, you're 10 times the man I am. Now, I know what he meant by that. He meant as far as being a husband and a father, that I was the husband and father that he was not, okay? He was a 24/7 street guy. He loved the streets, he wanted to be in the streets, and it always came first to him. It didn't come first to me. And that was the thing. You know, our hearts beat so much alike, my father and I, until I got married and started having children. And then you see something, you love your children, you'd never imagine in this lifetime that you could love anything like that, like your children, okay? And your perspectives change. I had said that my father was better looking than me, my father was smarter than me, my father was tougher than me, but I still were cut from his cloth. You know, my father, who was a die-in-the-wool street guy, was, as we have always said, it's one of the utmost compliments you could pay somebody in prison, is when you say, that guy is a man's man, he walked it all the way to the gate. Okay, that means he walked it through prison and he walked it right to the gate out the door. And my father was one of those individuals. He walked it all the way to the gate. He was a tough guy, a man's man, all the way to his last breath. My father would refuse to believe anything else other than what he was. He believed he was right. He believed the life choice that he had made was the right life choice. He was unapologetic for it. So much so at the end, when the priest came in to read him his last rites, he basically threw him out of the room. You know, he dismissed him politely with his hand and turned his head the other way, because my father wasn't going to be a hypocrite. You know what they say, there's no atheist in the foxhole? Well, John was not afraid in the end. He was dying, and he was dying the way he lived, okay? He wasn't going to be a hypocrite at the end. He was a tough guy. He went out a tough guy, and that's just the way it was. Whereas in my eyes, through my eyes, he was my cause. My father was always my cause, and he was a larger-than-life guy to me. He wasn't I didn't idolize him. As I said earlier in the interview, I didn't idolize my father. I worshipped him. I worshipped my father, and I still do today. His strength. I know I had the opportunity at the hands of the government to be tortured, and they tortured me with diesel therapies for months and months, and they left a kidney stone stuck in my kidney, knew the pain and suffering that I had to endure, okay? And yet they didn't care. They just didn't care. They tortured me, these people. And I said to myself, what I'm going through right now is nothing compared to what my father went through. This is a man that was in solitary confinement for 10 years, and he died handcuffed to a bed. He refused to bow to these individuals. He refused to let them spike him and induce coma to reduce his pain. He refused because he felt that they would try to maybe make him say something, so he suffered like an animal to his last breath. And his death certificate says that he choked on his own vomit and blood. That's how he died. And, you know, it's, to me, just thinking about it makes me emotional. And just replaying what I had the opportunity to not witness. Okay? My brother, who was my younger brother, he was there for my father in the end. I was away in prison. And regrettably that I wasn't there for my father, I carry that around today. However, I'm relieved by the fact that I didn't have to see it, because I don't know. I may have had the urge to put a pillow over his head to take him out of his pain and his suffering, not to give his adversaries, his enemies, you know, the opportunity to basically, have their way with him.